All right, so everyone get this. You know how we always hear that amyloid plaques are like the villain, the bad guy in Alzheimer's?
Right.
Well, hold on tight because some new research is coming out and it's suggesting that one type of amyloid, specifically amyloid beta 42,
Huh.
might actually be more of a hero, like we totally misunderstood it.
Yeah.
We're diving deep today into a study that's straight out of the journal Brain
Okay.
and some reporting that goes along with it from SciPost to try and figure this whole thing out.
Yeah, it's a really interesting twist,
Yeah.
This new research is really challenging. One of the main theories in Alzheimer's research,
right.
which is the amyloid cascade hypothesis. And that basically says
Okay.
that all these amyloid plaques building up, that's the main thing that causes the disease.
So just to make sure we're all starting from the same place here,
Yeah.
can we break down what amyloid beta even is? I know there's amyloid beta 40 and amyloid beta 42. What's the difference between those two, and why is 42 suddenly the star of the show?
Well, both of them, both amyloid beta 40 and 42, they're just protein fragments that occur naturally in the brain.
Okay.
But the big difference is in their structure.
Okay.
Amyloid beta 42, it's stickier,
Oh.
meaning it clumps together more,
Okay.
and it forms those plaques that we've been hearing so much about.
Right.
And, for decades, researchers, they saw that stickiness, that plaque-forming tendency,
Yeah.
and they were like, aha, that's got to be the culprit in Alzheimer's.
Yeah, so, okay, it's sticky, it forms plaques, end of story, right?
Right.
But I feel like something's missing here.
Exactly. And that's what makes this new research so exciting,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we know there are a bunch of people out there,
Mm.
they have these amyloid plaques in their brains,
Okay.
but they never, ever develop dementia.
Wow.
And then, to make things even more complicated,
Yeah.
there's been tons of clinical trials where they focused on removing these plaques,
Okay.
and they just haven't shown the cognitive benefits that everyone was hoping for.
Oh, interesting.
And in some cases, it actually seemed to make things worse.
Oh, wow.
So if the plaques were the real problem,
Right.
why aren't these treatments working?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's almost as if we're cleaning up a spill,
Right.
but that stain, it's still there,
Exactly.
and maybe it even gets worse.
Yeah.
Could it be that, we're only seeing part of the problem?
Yeah.
That the plaques are, a symptom, not the cause?
Yeah, you got it. And that's exactly what the proteinopenia hypothesis is all about.
Okay.
This theory, it basically says that Alzheimer's might actually be caused by a lack of amyloid beta 42,
Okay.
not just the plaques themselves.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
A lack of amyloid beta 42.
Yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher.
But didn't we just say that it was, the bad guy?
Well, turns out amyloid beta 42, it has two forms. The sticky kind that forms plaques, which we've been talking about,
Right.
and then a soluble form.
Oh, okay.
And this soluble form, it just floats around in the brain.
Okay.
The proteinopenia hypothesis, it's saying that this soluble form,
Okay.
it might actually be a good thing.
Oh, interesting.
Like it might help with communication between brain cells
Gotcha.
or protect against damage,
So maybe instead of just getting rid of the plaques,
Yeah.
this new theory is saying we need to figure out how to get more of this good amyloid beta 42.
Exactly. It's a total shift in how we think about this.
Wow.
And this study from the journal Brain, it gives us some really good evidence for this new idea.
Okay.
They analyzed a ton of data, from 24 different clinical trials
Wow.
with almost 26,000 Alzheimer's patients.
26,000 patients. That's huge.
It is. It's a massive study.
So what exactly did they look at?
Well, they looked at the amyloid plaque levels, which they measured by looking at brain images. And they also looked at the levels of this soluble amyloid beta 42 in the cerebrospinal fluid.
Okay.
And the really cool part is
Yeah.
they also measured how well people were doing cognitively,
Yeah.
using standardized tests.
Gotcha.
So they could see how all these things were connected.
So we've got the plaques, we've got the soluble amyloid beta 42,
Yep.
and we've got how well the brain's working.
Uh-huh.
What happened when the researchers, put all of that together?
They found something really remarkable. They found that when the soluble amyloid beta 42 levels went up,
Oh, okay.
it was just as strongly linked to cognitive improvement
Oh, wow.
as when the amyloid plaques were reduced.
So basically having more of this soluble amyloid beta 42
Exactly.
meant better cognitive function, even if there were still plaques hanging around.
That's right. Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, it's like completely flips the traditional idea on its head.
It does.
Are scientists starting to accept this new perspective?
Well, it's still kind of early, but this research is definitely getting a lot of attention.
Ah,
Not everyone's convinced yet,
right.
and we definitely need more research
Sure.
to be really sure about these findings. But more and more, people are starting to realize that amyloid beta 42,
Yeah,
it's probably a lot more complicated
right.
than we used to think.
So it sounds like this could really change things.
Yeah.
If soluble amyloid beta 42 is so important for a healthy brain, what does that mean for, like, treating Alzheimer's?
Well, it could really open up a whole new way of thinking about research and treatments,
Yeah.
Imagine instead of just trying to get rid of those plaques, what if we could develop treatments that like boost the levels of this good soluble amyloid beta 42?
That would be amazing. But I imagine it's probably not as simple as just, like, popping a pill, is it?
You're right. It's definitely not simple.
So what are some of the challenges researchers are up against
Yeah.
in trying to develop these new therapies?
Well, first off, we need to figure out why soluble amyloid beta 42 levels start to drop in some people.
Okay.
Is it because of their genes?
Uh-huh.
Or maybe something in their environment?
Right.
Or just, getting older?
Yeah.
It could be all of those things combined.
It's like a big mystery to solve.
It is.
And once we figure out the why,
Yes.
then we have to figure out the how, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we actually go about increasing or restoring those levels?
Well, one way could be to find ways to, stimulate the production of soluble amyloid beta 42.
Okay.
Or we could try to develop therapies that stop it from breaking down so quickly,
Right.
protect what's already there.
What about those monoclonal antibody treatments?
Uh-huh.
The ones that are already being used for Alzheimer's?
Yeah.
Could those be tweaked somehow to focus on this? Boosting soluble amyloid beta 42?
That's a really interesting idea. And so the newer ones like aducanumab, lecanemab,
Okay.
and donanemab,
Yeah.
they actually do show an increase in soluble amyloid beta 42.
Oh, okay.
But there's a catch.
Oh.
They can also cause some problems like brain inflammation and swelling in some patients.
Oh, wow.
It's called ARIA, amyloid-related imaging abnormalities.
So it's tricky, right?
It is.
Trying to increase the good amyloid beta 42 without causing these other issues.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
What does Professor Espay think about all of this? I know his team is, like, really leading the way with this research.
They are. And you know what?
Yeah.
Professor Espay and his team, they're actually looking at totally different strategies.
Okay.
Ones that don't even involve removing plaques at all.
Oh, interesting.
They believe that if we can directly target how soluble amyloid beta 42 is made,
Right.
or how it breaks down,
Yeah.
that could be a safer and more effective approach in the long run.
So it's like we're moving away from this idea that amyloid plaques are the enemy
Yeah.
and starting to see the problem from a whole new perspective.
Pretty big shift.
It is. But even if we figure out how to, like, control those amyloid beta 42 levels,
Yeah.
is that the end of the story when it comes to Alzheimer's?
That's a good question. And honestly,
Yeah.
Alzheimer's is super complicated.
Right.
It's not just one thing.
Uh-huh.
There are a bunch of different factors involved.
Okay.
Like we've got those tau protein tangles
Okay.
inside the neurons,
Yeah.
and then there's oxidative stress and inflammation, and of course genetics plays a role too.
So it's not like there's one magic solution.
Right.
It's about understanding how all these different pieces fit together.
Exactly.
And then developing treatments that address all of them.
Exactly. It's a multifaceted approach.
I bet a lot of our listeners are wondering what they can do right now
Yeah.
to protect their brains, even without a cure.
Yeah. It's a question I get a lot.
Are there any lifestyle changes that might help lower the risk of developing Alzheimer's?
That's a great question. And you know what?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're going to dive into in the final part of our deep dive today.
Perfect. I can't wait. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time talking about this groundbreaking research, really changing how we think about Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are probably like, okay, but what can I do now to protect my brain?
Right.
So let's talk about that. What can we do today to keep our brains healthy and sharp?
That's a great question. And while we don't have a guaranteed way to prevent Alzheimer's completely,
Okay.
there is research that shows that making healthy lifestyle choices can really make a difference.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Like you can lower your risk and just boost your overall brain health.
So what kind of lifestyle factors are we talking about here?
Well, think of it as like a holistic approach,
Okay.
taking care of your brain through physical activity, mental stimulation,
Okay.
eating a balanced diet, getting enough sleep,
Right.
and staying socially engaged.
Okay, let's break those down one by one.
Sure.
First up, physical activity. I mean, we all know exercise is good for our bodies,
Right, yeah.
but how does it actually help the brain?
Exercise is like amazing for the brain.
Yeah.
It increases blood flow, so all those brain cells are getting more oxygen and nutrients.
Oh, okay.
And it also triggers the production of growth factors,
Right.
which help neurons grow and make new connections.
There's like fertilizer for the brain.
Pretty much. And studies have shown that regular exercise can actually improve memory, attention,
Wow.
cognitive function. It can even slow down the brain shrinking that happens as we age.
So getting our heart rate up is good for like our whole system,
Exactly.
body and mind.
Yep.
What about mental stimulation? What kind of activities help keep our minds sharp?
Anything that challenges your brain and makes it learn new stuff.
Okay.
Like reading, doing puzzles,
Yeah.
learning a new language, taking up a musical instrument,
Right.
or doing something creative like painting or writing.
I like that.
The important thing is to keep your mind active and engaged.
Use it or lose it.
Exactly. Now let's talk about diet.
Okay.
Are there certain foods that are particularly good for the brain?
Yeah, that's what I was
A
wondering.
healthy diet, it's essential for everything, right?
Right.
Including your brain.
Yeah.
Make sure you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables,
Okay.
whole grains, and lean protein.
Okay.
Those foods give you important nutrients,
Yeah.
antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory compounds
Right.
that protect your brain cells from damage.
Gotcha.
Some studies even suggest that the Mediterranean diet,
Okay.
the one that focuses on plant-based foods, fish, and olive oil,
Yeah.
that might be especially beneficial for brain health.
So ditch the junk food and load up on those colorful fruits and veggies.
Exactly.
Now sleep.
Yeah.
I know I'm like a total zombie when I don't get enough sleep.
Me too.
But what's the connection between sleep and brain health?
Sleep is when your brain gets to, like, consolidate memories, clear out toxins, and just recharge.
Yeah, it needs to rest.
It does. During sleep, your brain is busy processing information, strengthening those neural connections, and getting ready for the next day.
Wow.
If you don't get enough sleep, it can really mess with your cognitive function,
Oh, yeah.
increase stress levels,
yeah.
and it might even contribute to the buildup of those amyloid plaques we talked about.
I had no idea sleep deprivation could be so bad for the brain.
Serious stuff,
So getting enough sleep, that's non-negotiable for a healthy brain.
for sure.
Last but not least, social engagement. How does connecting with others help our cognitive well-being?
We're social creatures.
Right.
Our brains need interaction.
Yeah.
Socializing, it stimulates your brain,
Okay.
reduces stress,
Mm.
and provides emotional support,
Right.
all of which helps keep your brain healthy.
Makes sense.
Studies show that people who have strong social connections,
Yeah.
they tend to have better cognitive function and a lower risk of dementia.
So it's not just about like brain games and eating healthy, it's about connecting with people too.
Exactly.
Spending time with loved ones, having meaningful conversations, nurturing those relationships.
It all matters.
That's a great takeaway.
Okay.
So we can't completely eliminate the risk of getting Alzheimer's,
Right.
but we can do a lot to protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
So to sum up everything we talked about today,
Yeah.
this new research is really shaking things up, suggesting that losing soluble amyloid beta 42 might be a key driver of Alzheimer's.
Right.
And scientists are working on new treatments that focus on boosting those levels.
That's really exciting stuff.
And while we wait for those breakthroughs,
Yeah.
there's so much we can do right now to take care of our brains through lifestyle choices.
I completely agree. It's empowering to know we have some control.
And the research is always evolving.
It is.
This new understanding of amyloid beta 42 opens up a whole new chapter in Alzheimer's research. It's so important to stay informed and be open to new possibilities.
I agree.
Well, thanks for joining us today on this deep dive. We hope you learned some new stuff and that you feel empowered to take care of your brain.
If this sparked your interest, keep learning about it.
Absolutely. And stay tuned for more updates on this exciting field of research.
Yes, keep those brains sharp.
Knowledge is power.